all this talk about Brittany Griner coming home, have you ever asked yourself why Paul Whelan, the person we did not bring home, the former U.S. Marine we did not bring home, is detained in a Russian prison? I did. And so I thought, hey, I want to see what's up with this guy and who he is, what he did. Let's do that together. I've got an article here from The Week, and I will put the link in the description down below. It's titled, "Who is Paul Whelan? Brittany Griner is coming home while another American remains behind in a Moldovan labor camp." Gosh, dang. It's sad. It's a sad day for America. Happy day for Brittany Griner and her family, but a sad day for America overall. I feel nothing Joe Biden has done has been to boost the morale of the American people and or the American military, beginning with the debacle in Afghanistan and moving forward with mandating the you-know-what to go in all armed services people, right? We already do enough to them. Let's not put something they don't need. Let's not make them get something they may or may not want, right? Let's let them choose. All right, let's get into this. A U.S. Russia prisoner swap of WNBA player Brittany Griner for convicted Russian arms dealer Victor Bout, I hope I'm saying that right, has put a renewed spotlight on Paul Whelan, another American detained by the Kremlin. U.S. officials say that despite their best efforts, they haven't been able to secure his release. Is Whelan's conviction for alleged espionage making negotiations more difficult? Here's everything you need to know. Okay, I hope this is a great article. It sounds like it might be. Side note, while I'm on the topic, let's just give like a high-level perspective, my perspective of what's going on here. See, the reason the Biden administration worked so hard to get Brittany Griner released is because Brittany Griner, from my perspective, aligns with their goals and objectives, right? They're pushing a narrative. They're pushing an agenda, and that agenda involves people like Brittany Griner, LGBTQ plus all the other stuff, appeasement, and pushing that to the forefront of the news and the media and making it the topic of conversation, right? The military is not Joe Biden's agenda. Making sure the American people are safe is not Joe Biden's agenda. If it was, he wouldn't have left behind billions of dollars in weaponry that U.S. taxpayers paid for. And then turn around in the same day, oftentimes, and call for gun control laws. See, Joe Biden is making the world a more dangerous place, but he's making you, or wants to make you, more incapable of defending yourself in that dangerous place. That's how I see it. Okay, who is Paul Whelan? Paul Whelan, 52, is a U.S. citizen who has been detained in Russia on espionage charges for the past 4 years. Whelan, a former U.S. Marine, also has citizenship in Ireland, Britain, and Canada. He worked in law enforcement before and after his military service. At the time of his arrest, Whelan was working as the director of global security for Borg Warner, an auto parts supplier based in Michigan. Whelan served in the Marine Corps Reserve from 1994 to 2008. While serving in the Marines, he did 2 deployments in Iraq and rose to the rank of staff sergeant. He worked as an administrative clerk and chief before being discharged in 2008 for bad conduct. The Marine Corps found him guilty of multiple charges, including attempting to steal $10,000 from the U.S. government while deployed to Iraq in 2006, according to records obtained by the Washington Post. And that doesn't sound good. Whelan's family says he first visited Russia while stationed in Iraq and returned to visit the country often over the past few years. Several of Whelan's Russian acquaintances described him as a friendly man with a great apprehension for Russia, great appreciation for Russia, and a basic command of their language, per the Post. In an op-ed for the Post, Paul's twin brother, David Whelan, describes him as a kind and considerate brother, son, and uncle, and a generous and loyal friend. Whelan's family has maintained his innocence since the beginning of this ordeal. Why was Whelan detained in Russia? Whelan was arrested by Russia's Federal Security Service, or FSB, at a Moscow hotel on December 28, 2018. The FSB claimed he was carrying out an espionage operation, which resulted in his arrest. Whelan's brother, David, said Whelan was in Moscow for the wedding of a fellow Marine. The morning of the wedding, Whelan gave the couple a tour of the Kremlin, but they stopped hearing from him before the ceremony. He was arrested and allegedly received a USB drive. He was arrested after allegedly receiving a USB drive containing state secrets. While in Moscow, Whelan said he thought the drive held an acquaintance's vacations photos. See, there's lots of crazy stuff going on in our world, right? What to believe. The FSB did not confirm that Whelan was in their custody until days after his arrest. John Huntsman, the U.S. ambassador to Russia at the time, was able to visit Whelan in detention nearly a week after his initial arrest. A U.S. government representative was supposed to have been able to see him within 72 hours of his arrest, but the meeting was delayed. Whelan's arrest came weeks after accused Russian spy Maria Butina pleaded guilty in U.S. federal court to charges of influencing U.S. relations with Russia before and after the 2016 presidential election. Some people have speculated that Whelan's arrest might have been in retaliation for Butina's conviction. That's a very real possibility, right? In these international games that go on, sometimes people get caught up in there. That's why we got to be really careful, my friends. Keep your spidey sense about you, especially when you're traveling overseas. You know, we've already seen a number. You got to be careful, right? Adhere to their laws and rules and regulations. See, Brittany Griner wouldn't even be in the situation she's in had she not taken weed into Russia. Big no-no. I think it's part of the entitlement culture that we have in America, right? We're Americans. We can do whatever we want. Just be careful out there. Samantha Vinograd, a national security analyst who served on former President Obama's National Security Council, told CNN, Putin certainly likes to take what he calls reciprocal measures, and in this case, ostensibly, he would want to have some kind of bargaining chip if he chooses to try to negotiate for Maria Butina's release. See, that's another thing. You don't want to end up as a pawn in an international game of frickin', I'll trade you this for that, right? In 2020, Whelan was convicted of espionage charges and sentenced to 16 years in a Russian prison. Man. He was originally held in Correctional Colony number 18 in the Mordovia region shortly after his conviction. He was later moved to high security prison JK or IK, it looks like IK-17, also in Mordovia, but located an 8 hours drive southeast of Moscow. Why hasn't Whelan been released in a prisoner swap? U.S. officials consider Whelan a political prisoner and insist they have been diligent in trying to negotiate his release. But so far, nothing has panned out. Considering the fact that the White House has successfully secured the release of 2 other prisoners this year, many are asking why Whelan keeps getting left behind. See, I didn't know 2 other prisoners were released. That is a good question. Why does he get left behind? I was arrested for a crime that never occurred, Whelan said in a recent interview for CNN. I don't understand why I'm still sitting here. In April 2022, the U.S. was able to secure, hold on, well, let's just recap. Again, I don't know whether he did it or not. I'm just learning as you are learning here. But if I was going to a foreign country and I was a former Marine, I would want to be on my best behavior. And if someone tried to hand me a flash drive with some wedding pictures on it, I'd say, you know what? I don't want it. I'm not taking any chances, right? Again, I would be on my very best behavior. And even then, something could happen, right? Even then, something could go down. Let's continue here. In April 2022, the U.S. was able to secure the release of Trevor Reed, another former Marine who was serving 9 years for assaulting a Russian police officer. Russia released Reed in exchange for the U.S. release of convicted Russian drug trafficker Konstantin I'm going to try it because I like to try these. Yaroshenko. We won't stop until Paul Whelan and others join Trevor in the loving arms of family and friends, Biden promised at the time. In July, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken announced that the U.S. had submitted a proposal to Russian authorities for WNBA player Brittany Griner and Whelan's joint release. The proposal included a proposed swap for convicted Russian arms dealer Victor Bout. who was serving a 25-year sentence in the U.S. However, the Russians rejected that proposal, leaving the White House to continue negotiations over the past 5 months. On Thursday, the U.S. announced they had reached an agreement to secure Griner's release, but they could not do the same for Whelan, Biden said. This was not a choice of which America this was not a choice of which American to bring home. Sadly, for totally illegitimate reasons, Russia is treating Paul's case differently than Brittany's. Whelan was told that because he was accused of spying on Russia, they've put me at a level higher than what they did with Trevor Reed and Brittany, per his statement to CNN. Well, that makes sense, I guess, you know. The other thing about it is, even though we're quote unquote enemies with Russia, we have to respect them and what happens on their soil. That's why I say we have to be super respectful when we go into these countries. And even when we're dealing with them, even though they're our enemy, we still have to respect what they're got going on. To that point, even though I don't like a lot of what Joe Biden does and a lot of what the Democrats are doing, I respect them as adversaries, right? In this information war we find ourselves in. I'm not going to underestimate them. I'm not going to turn my back on them. I don't trust them, right? It's a healthy respect, right? I don't like them. I don't like what they're doing to our country. I don't like the direction we're going. I don't like I don't like his policies. I don't like things he's done. I don't like things he's planning to do. But I have a healthy respect for him, and I do not underestimate him in any way, shape, or form, or the Democrats in general, right? How are people reacting? Though heartbroken, the Whelan family said they were prepared for the news that negotiations to release him failed. In a statement emailed to the media, Whelan's brother said the Biden administration made the right decision to bring Miss Griner home and to make the deal that was possible, rather than waiting for one that wasn't going to happen. Other people did not react so well to the news that Whelan would remain in prison. Some members of Congress expressed their disappointment in the Biden administration because Whelan was left out of another prisoner swap. I don't blame him. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy called the trade for about a gift to Vladimir Putin. It does seem like an unbalanced trade to me. I mean, the quote-unquote merchant of death for Brittany Griner, WNBA basketball star. Again, nothing against her, but that doesn't seem like a fair trade. I think we got screwed. And admonished Biden for endangering American lives, which that very well could be, right? Very well could be. This is the pattern that I'm talking about, my friends. What happened in Afghanistan? What's happening now at this trade? Do you see a pattern developing? I don't see that Biden has the best interest of the United States people or the United States military in his plans. That's not in the best interest. What he's doing is not in their best interest. Leaving Paul Whelan behind for this is unconscionable. Similarly, Senator Rick Scott of Florida tweeted, "I'm glad Brittany is coming home, but what about U.S. Marine vet Paul Whelan? He's still held by Putin in Russia. For Biden to give Putin a dangerous arms deal, or someone known as the merchant of death is weak and disgusting. It is weak and disgusting. Doing so while leaving Paul behind is unforgivable." Amid the criticism, some defended Biden, highlighting that the president is still working to get Whelan home. Former Mike Pence aide Olivia Troyer wrote, "The Whelan family has been gracious in their understanding of this, and as Americans, we should be united in calling out Putin rather than attacking our own president." See, yes and no. You know, we got to look at the situation again. Sometimes our own president is not acting in ways that are consistent with the best interests of the American people and the American military. We have to look at this. What is he doing? While he said he was happy for Griner, Whelan remains greatly disappointed that more has not been done to secure my release. He told CNN he was led to believe that things were moving in the right direction and that the governments were negotiating and that something would happen fairly soon. So that looks like the article. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Thanks for checking out this video. If you want more information like this in the Hot Topics series or any of these other series I'm sharing on my channel, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. Click the bell if you want to be notified. If you are interested in courses for conscious creators to help you create the business and lifestyle that you want, overcome fear, doubt, uncertainty, limiting beliefs, all those things that we all face as we're moving toward creating the things we want to see in the world, creating the things that are inside of you that want to come out, right? Doing your work in the world. I'd love to invite you to check out my courses at gmarkphillips.com/courses. So that's it. There's links in the description down below. As always, thank you so much for watching or for listening and watching. Until next time, I wish you all the best health, wealth, and success. Bye-bye.